Hey everyone, Jeannie here. Yeah, Jeannie Robertson Art or that 70s channel, whichever one you're turning into. I believe I'm going to post this one on Jeannie Robertson Art. Something's in my eye. I don't know what it is. Anyway, yes, I've been away, and that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. You know, for all of those seniors out there that are in their 70s, and if you're like me, you never had a sick day in your life, you never had an ill diagnosis. I was fortunate, very fortunate, always very healthy, always, nothing slowed me down. I never felt past 35 or 40 in my life and I think a lot of it had to do with working very, very hard on videos and having a stressful situation in my life that came up, which I won't even mention. It's just a common thing in families, but it's something that stressed me out. And then I began to start being very out of breath. And dizzy. So I finally actually went to my primary doctor, the doctors that, I guess they call them primary physicians. They kind of have an overall picture of your health. And I'd seen her a few times for certain things over the years, but it was never anything important at all. But I went to her and I said, I'm so fatigued. I'm just like out of breath. I have stairs to climb at my house and I barely make it to the top. And I'd never felt anything like that in my life, except for one flu that I had back during the COVID time, which I never tested, but it could have been COVID. And my doctors now say that might have been a heart infection that has just kind of did a little damage or something. So she said, go to the emergency room. You don't have to go today, because I wasn't like dying, right, or really desperate. But she said, when you feel like you want to do this, the best thing for you to do would be to go to the emergency room and just let them do all the tests. Because I never let her do anything. I never even let her do blood tests because I felt great all the time. And I just went in really basically because that's what you have to do for your insurance. I probably never would have met her otherwise. And so I said, okay, well, I didn't do that until one night. I just couldn't catch a breath well. And so that was all during these videos that I was making, which I had probably veered off a little bit just because I was so fatigued. And so I called and the ambulance came and they took my blood pressure and all, and it was very low. And they decided to take me to the hospital. I said, do you think I need to go, or can you do something for me here to get me through the night? Because this was at 2 or 3 in the morning when I just had given up. I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore. And so they said, no, we're going to take you in. So I went into the hospital, and they told me I had kind of like a congestive heart failure thing going on, which sounds terrible. As a matter of fact, do you know that there's a group of doctors that have tried to get the American Medical Association to change the name of that congestive heart failure thing because it sounds so dire, to just something else, because it's actually treatable, but it can be dangerous. And in my case, I had no choice. I had to go. And so what they never told me what it was or anything. They just wouldn't give me anything to drink or eat really. And then they just gave me diuretics. So finally it came clear in my consciousness after talking to a whole team of cardiologists, that I was having something called PVCs, where my heart was just going like this all the time. But you know, it'd been going on so long, I was used to it. It just, I, I just thought, well, I guess that's what happens when you get to be my age or something. And it wore the poor thing out. So they want to do an ablation in time. They haven't, that we're not doing it yet, but, and I'm in the good hands of a lot of good people who know a lot of things, a lot of good doctors and homeopaths and osteopaths, and you know, just I like the whole gamut. I don't just do the medical scene. I like to do, you know, alternative medicine too, which, if you know, I've been into that for many years. So I have a lot of confidence and faith in the human body to heal itself, just as it does if you cut yourself. You wash it real clean and it just heals itself, right? So I always have felt that that can happen. When you get older, it's a little different. You may need a little more assistance, and you obviously do, uh, more than what you needed when you were a young, spry kid or a young adult. So anyway, I went in and I had all the tests. Well, everything proved out very well. There's no blockages, no clots, no this, no that. Heart is good and strong. It's just that there's a weak valve somewhere in there that is not allowing enough blood to uh, manage the amount of activity that I have. And I'm not saying I have more activity than most, but for the activity that I have, that amount of blood flow is not enough. So it's because there are some weak spots in the valves that supply this heart, you know, and it needs to be at a certain rhythm so that this blood can get around your body. And my rhythm is way off. So that's what we're working on. But so I did take off. So that's a long story, but it's a short story compared to what it's really been, because that's been almost, I think my last video was in last October or something like that. So October, November, December, January, February, March, and now we're into April. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I wanted to tell you how I felt. I felt like I was gonna die. I don't feel like that anymore, but I did, because I think there were many things happening: body, mind, and heart. You know, there are certain traumas that follow us all the way through our lives. And so when we get to a certain age, you got to look at these things. You have to resolve them. You don't have to get into them and go, oh, but you have to see some things that have affected your life. You have to see some truths or facts about your life, your behavior, your expression, your personality, um, your stress levels, your past can have has possibly had an effect on your human body because of just holding stress. So there are so many ways that there's so many ways to remedy this situation. And you have to take responsibility yourself. You cannot just go lay in front of a doctor and say, fix it, because they can't. Your own spirit will fix this thing, you know? And it's always a combination of physical, emotional, mental stress. It's never just one thing. It's not because you just ate the wrong foods. It's not because you were abused. It's not because you were abandoned. It's not because you treated your body terrible. It's not because It's certainly not because you're a victim and someone else did something. It's all about you seeing where you are, who you are, and how you are going to continue your life. And so that is what I have been doing for these months. I slowed down, way down. And I'm so glad I did, because there's nothing like being free of demands, commands, obligations. And once you stop being physically obligated, then you'll start being less and less and less emotionally obligated. There's traditional obligation, right? That's unnecessary. It's all completely unnecessary. All we have to do is be and discover. We're going to need to be in nature. We're going to need to be quiet. We're going to need to stop yakking all the time. We're going to need to stop, eating potato chips all day and cupcakes all night, or whatever we do, or drinking too much wine and booze or whatever. We've been doing this all our lives, taking responsibility for ourselves as we grow and grow and grow. And this is just another level. And I think it does happen when you start entering that last couple of decades. You could call it maybe your last quarter. When you've sailed along, jumped along, ridden along with perfect health, as I have done, and then something hits you and you can't even breathe to get to the top of the stairs. It's a rude awakening, and it gives you time to stop and see what is valuable and what's important in your life. And I mean, I bought life insurance, life insurance, more life insurance. I made out the will. I did all those things because I really didn't know if I was going to live through that. It wasn't even really that serious, but to me, I really didn't know, because one thing, doctors don't explain a lot to you. Have you ever noticed how they'll take your blood pressure, do a test, and they don't tell you anything? They just kind of, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then they have a specialized time that they'll tell you certain things. And in my case, I had a team of doctors, and a lot of them would be a little different from the other one. And I bless their hearts, this is the way the system works now. And I don't know how many physicians actually do like it, but they're kind of, everyone has to kind of work together. And sometimes the prescriptions get a little mixed up and stuff like that. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole and video that I probably will never do. However, I'm very, very thankful for each one of the physicians that has been looking after me, and I think they're doing a great job. And here's the big point, I feel great. I'm doing so much better. I changed a few things. I changed my diet, and it was already pretty radical, but I had to change. I changed a few things there. And there's many, many, many videos about learning how to do, take care of yourself in better ways. I've slowed down. I'm under a lot less stress now. The stress wasn't anything hugely important, like I'm going to lose my mortgage or nothing like that. But I put myself under stress, demanding too much out of myself. And I've stopped all that. And let's see what else. I've learned to let go of stresses I carried from my children, which I'm sure all parents can relate to that. I've let go of that. I see that, these children that we bear them for a while, and we help them and support them, but they really are adults on their own. And we don't have any more resources to help them other than our wisdom from going through similar things in our own lives. And sometimes they don't want to listen to that anyway. And sometimes they do, and a lot of times they do. I know my kids quote me a lot. I know they do. But it's not like I have to use my own energy to bring them along anymore. They're, for heaven's sakes, I'm almost 80 years old, and my oldest daughter is 62. She draws Social Security just like I do. So anyway, it's a big learning journey. We're all on it. It's a wonderful place to be. It's a wonderful time to be alive, even though things seem like they're falling apart. Many times, when right before things get better, things totally have to deconstruct. And you know that. And in any building that's going on, there's this evolving situation, and it doesn't look too good, but the finished product is great. So that's what we're in now, is a deconstruction, a reconstruction of every kind of thing we've ever known and been taught. And as seniors, we have the luxury of not having to be those builders out there right now. We can now relax. We've done the job that we came to do. We've planted many seeds and done a lot for a lot of people, and raised our children and contributed to the country and the world as best we could. And now we are, we can be still and calm and send out our love, and we're here for people, but we don't have to be so stressed about trying to change things out there anymore. I'm no longer at the rallies. I'm not out there protesting. I'm not protesting in my heart either. I've stepped back. But then that's what happens when you get to be this age. So I'm very aware of what's going on in the world. I'm just taking a very different, I'm looking at it from a different angle now. Well, that's another video too, which we won't get into now. But I'd like to say this. Even though there was that period where I almost thought I didn't really think I was going to die, and I had no fear of it at all. But I felt there was that possibility because of my age. I'm like, well, a lot of people pass away at this age. And I can tell you right now, I don't feel that anymore. I feel like I'm definitely going to be around until my 90s, like my family. Most of the family members that I have lived well into their 90s. And I'm happy to be here, love to be here. I want to be here. And I feel really good, and I'm getting better and better all the time. So there's a couple more little things we're going to do health-wise, this cardio team and myself, and we'll take care of all that. And I will be here making more videos. And so I am working on some art projects. As you can see, I'm in the midst of framing a lot of things right now, because I hope to have a show soon, and I'm looking for a place to do it, another artist and myself. So anyway, I'll let you see how all that works out. But for tonight, that's enough said. And I just wanted to touch base with you all and let you know I'm still out here. I'm still working it. And I think I'm getting ready to do another hair and makeup type video pretty soon. I have and a couple of spring clothing ideas that I have. So thanks for dropping by. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. I still have the exact same amount of subscribers that I had when I left. Maybe a couple more have been added. But anyway, thank you for being there. I hope I hear from you in the comments. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're still around. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Okay, bye-bye.